Today, I'm going to tell you just a little bit of background where we are today, why we are today here in this situation, and also talk a little bit about how perception of people and blockchain, and a lot of people think that blockchains are secure, and I'll tell you why they're not. Yeah. Also talk a little bit about AI. There's a big room for blockchain and AI to change many things in the world. Yeah. And working with two together, you can tackle many problems out there. So, a bit about myself. I've been in this space for quite a while. Not in the limelight like many people, but still I've been doing quite a lot of things. Blockchain, data, AI. I'm a guest lecturer for PhD and master students at Newcastle University on AI, machine learning, data, so on. So I have a very strong background on that as well. So before that, yeah, I was a programmer. I started at 11 years old. I wrote a computer game when I was 11 years old, and then was doing a lot of stuff on the internet in very early days. Some things I'm not very proud of. That's for another conversation. So, so this man in 2007 came up with something that changed a lot the way we live today. iPhone, he created an ecosystem where everybody could start to get apps, data, doing a lot of stuff, and it starts to become a big problem at this time. Yeah. Between 2007 and 2010, Samsung, Google, and all of these people start to come up with Androids and so on. So the ecosystem quite exploded, and he came up with iPad. Again, not the first tablet out there. I believe it was Microsoft with tablet PC 10 years before, but he came at the right time. That again exploded. Now we're starting to see everyone out there using a lot of the stuff, apps and data and everywhere around the world, caused by this as well. Cloud first strategy. So if you're not doing anything on the cloud, you are like 8 years late, and 8 years in technology is a lot of time. Yeah. So this created a different problem. Now we're pushing all of the stuff that we had on our data centers up to the cloud. Yeah. Brings another bigger problem in terms of cybersecurity. Yeah. Mobile first strategy, also 2011. All of this stuff has happened very, very quickly. Yeah. Now we're talking Facebooks and all of those say, hey, mobile first is the next big thing. Yeah. So yeah, let's all put more stuff there. Yeah. What all of this create is a very well connected world, extremely connected. We're connecting everything. Yeah. And the more stuff you have out there, the more endpoints you are exposing to any bad actors, to any people who really want to try to get value out of the things that you have. You know them as hackers, right? So, by the way, this is my representation of a hacker, Could be a guy in a suit, yeah? Actually, I know someone, a nice lady. It looks quite innocent, almost you say babushka, yeah, isn't it here? She's incredible, I can tell you that, okay? So, it comes in different sizes and forms, you never know who they are, right? But this is, for me, that's the biggest problem of all. Internet of Things. So we're talking now IoT. It's about connecting everything that you interact in the world, yeah? Everything that you interact in the world now is being connected. Just think about what that problem is in terms of actually securing that. There's no standards, there's no cybersecurity standards for any IoT, okay? It's a huge problem. So, the problem for 35 years, yeah, is that everything is centralized. And anything that is centralized is a single point of failure and is a target, right? Also, for 35 years, people have been trying to protect the end point. It's a lost war. Why is a lost war? Because when we find a vulnerability, being a 0 day, or if you're lucky to find a cyber weapon, you know, FUDs are not fully indetectables. Nobody can detect them at the moment, yeah? But let's stick with 0-day, yeah? These guys have been using that for 12 to 14 months before we actually know. Because current cybersecurity solutions, they need to know what something is before they can actually do something, yeah? It's like if you have a virus in your body, before you remove the virus or before you have something for it, you need to find what the cure for that is. That's what the antivirus, many other things do out there, yeah? So the approach is wrong. You can never protect the endpoint, yeah? These guys will always win, yeah? Lost war, 35 years is a proof of that. And there's a reason why, because hackers, they live in a meritocracy environment. They share all with no risk. So there are some forums out there on the deep dark web. If you speak Russian or Chinese, you're accepted to go in. If you're not, you're not accepted. And if you have something valuable to share, everything that they have is available to you. In the real world, companies, they don't share that intelligence, yeah? We don't share that with other companies or governments, because if we tell anyone that I was hacked, either the media uses that against me, or your competitor is going to use that against me. So we actually close ourselves. Therefore, they have more intelligence and they will always be ahead of us, yeah? Compliance audits. It's ridiculous today, and there is actually no solution for this today, until now. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it in terms of audits. So when you have a server farms, and you usually are a large organization, you need to have audits, yeah? And usually it's PwC, Accenture, all of these big organizations come and do an audit. What they do, part of what they do is they pick up 5 servers. You might have 1,000, 20,000 servers, but they pick up 5 and they go through a checklist to see if you have everything properly installed, you have an antivirus, you have the policies and so on. What about the other 19,995? They could be all infected, yeah? So it's impossible to understand if any of your servers are actually infected or not, okay? So 35 years, I mentioned that. So this is some of the stories, horrific stories that he heard. Maersk, the shipping company, I know the CIO well, he got a call at 2:30 in the morning and I said, you know, all of our servers are down. It was non-Petya. All of them, globally. 300 million loss, okay? They lost 1 month of business because the last backup that worked was 1 month before. So they can't even track, you know, what they sold, what they supplied. They've been doing their work until now. 300 million loss. But the biggest prize of all of them was these guys, yeah? Lockheed Martin, the biggest wealth transfer in history. $1.5 trillion stolen in IP. The fighter jet F-35 and F-22 and so on, it was the Chinese that stole that from them, yeah? I mean, it's a problem, but it's money, yeah? You are richer, I'm poor, yeah? That's how it works. Always one is, that's the nature today. Someone gets richer and someone gets poorer all the time. This is ridiculous, yeah? There was I always laugh at this. There was an audit in October to the Pentagon on the weapons systems. They found that the password was password. lots of weapon systems. You know, you can Google it, yeah? It's absolutely ridiculous, yeah? Cyber breach, there's something that traditionally that hackers use, which is they go through third-party systems. Supply chain, 70% of hacks comes through the supply chain, yeah? No organization is self-sufficient and develops everything that they have. So they'll try always to compromise a third party, being IP camera or being the travel system that the Pentagon was using. 30 or 35,000 records of employees of the Pentagon were hacked. Credit card number, address, their names, apparently, biometrics as well. Now think about what that means, repurposing high top officials from the Pentagon now, yeah? They came through the travel system. Yeah. So, but this is what really scares me. There's many other ways. Like I said, if you become richer, I become poorer. But think about this. This is an example. Yeah. Future of cyber attacks because everything is connected. Yeah. Farms, connected farms. Okay. Driverless tractors, seeding, doesn't matter. Drones. All this is a reality. This is happening now. In 5 years' time, in 5 years, almost every big farm will be using connected systems because it's more efficient to farm. Now, I told you about all the problems. Everything is hackable today. I'm telling you right now, everything. Okay? Now think about this. There's many people in power. I'm not going to mention names that are very crazy today. We hear about them every day. Different opinions in politics, doesn't matter. But it's going to be one day someone is really crazy, a hacker, is going to hack a manufacturing of connected tractors or connected systems. Now we're talking about actually, you know, famine, destroying entire crops of a country just by, you know, giving different instructions to the tractors. They say, destroy everything. It's scary. This is really what motivates me a lot, you know, to do a lot of stuff in cybersecurity, because cyber weapons are not the only goal for many people. There's other ways to do things and really compromise and destroy infrastructures of countries, you know, and this scares me the most. Not even talking about nuclear power stations and things like that. You know, you can have a chat with me later on, and I can tell you some of the things you probably know, maybe not, but I can tell you some of the things that I know that are quite scary. So, common cyber attacks, malware, I mentioned that, web applications, credential stuffing, quite easy to do. DDoS attacks, you know, there's different ways to do it, and there's always an ultimate goal, yeah? And man-in-the-middle attack. You see that a lot, and you know, in blockchain, a lot of people trying to do that to do different things and compromising nodes and so on. Ransomware, patent on patent, and so on, theft of keys, there's lots of other things, you know. But blockchain does not solve all those security problems, you know. I've been in this space for quite some time, and I hear a lot of people say, yeah, I have a blockchain, that's fine. So, there's always endpoint vulnerabilities, right? The nodes need to be somewhere. Okay, I can compromise a node, and there's different ways. I mean, there's ways like I can monitor the energy consumption of a processor, and I can reverse the keys. There's 3 papers published on that. Just look for the wave, the consumption of energy of that processor, and if you use the algorithms are widely available, if you know how to search them, you can figure out the keys, right? So you can be clever at doing those things. There's no blockchain that is operational, okay? Let's face it, yeah? There's no blockchain that is operational, okay? When I mean operational is, there's only one blockchain, which is a private one. This is IBM's one that can provide SLA. So if I'm an enterprise, not Ethereum, not everyone can give me an SLA. So every single blockchain infrastructure has been a disappointment to all of us. Okay? So when they start to give SLAs, then we can start to think about taking more serious, because there's, and I can tell you this here, yeah? The only blockchain that doesn't have problems and you cannot compromise at the moment is Zero Cash, because they have proper cryptographers working on it right from the beginning, okay? Not Zcash, Zero Cash. There's a lot of articles published out there. Ethereum, EOS, OneChain, you name it, yeah? There's a very well-known professor, I can't recall his name. I was trying to remember this morning, actually, and yesterday. He's a Greek professor of cryptography. He pretty much figured out how to hack every single blockchain out there, apart from Bitcoin. Bitcoin uses double SHA-256. NSA dropped SHA-256 because there's a way to hack. You know, there's stuff published out there. For some of you that don't know that. So it's not even on their radar anymore, SHA-256, okay? So there's a lot of things that you need to think about, yeah? But there's things that I always tell people, okay, let's say you solve the problem, yeah? Once it's on the blockchain, it's fine. you still can, before anything gets there, there's a source for it. You can compromise that source. Yeah? Hack the endpoint that is providing something, either a transaction or data, whatever it is. You can compromise in transit. Yeah? Not long ago, Google found a vulnerability on HTTPS. I don't know for how long they've been actually using it, themselves, right? So in transit, you still can compromise, yeah? And remember, immutability, yeah? If you send garbage in, yeah, you get immutable garbage. Be very aware of that, okay? So then, of course, a lot of people be making decisions based on immutable garbage data, whatever that data is, yeah? So there's all sorts of problems that blockchain actually introduced as well in terms of cybersecurity, yeah? Different attack vectors, yeah? You're trying to add new parts to the chain. If you're really clever, a good cryptographer, you might find how to do that, yeah? Actually, that professor said in 9 months, Bitcoin blockchain might be hackable. It's just a question of time, right? If 256, SHA-256, it's now hackable, somebody will figure out how to do it to double 256. And of course, change rules or policies, trying to manipulate and manage an entity to actually, trying to do fraudulent things, right? So there's different attack vectors you need to think about. So what we look then at Naoris 3.5 years ago is how can we actually stop all of this madness? So we decided, let's look how we can use blockchain. At the moment, the problem is the more endpoints you add to your network, the more vulnerable you become. So we try to look at this and try to reverse the problem. That's what I always do. I reverse the problem and see if it works. So if we reverse and say, well, if we add more endpoints and become stronger, what is the technology that's going to help us to do that? And straight away, blockchain comes to our mind. Yeah. So the solution is really a distributed and decentralized. They're two different things. I hear a lot of people talking about decentralization on blockchain. Distribution and decentralization is two different. Well, they're related, but they are different. So it's a truly distributed, decentralized, and you need consensus of the entire blockchain for any action that happens on the network. Yeah? And we managed to get compliance service level agreements, verification also in real time, because every device then will be on our blockchain. And AI, I tell you a little bit why. Okay, so 99.9% of the attacks, the attacker doesn't get any value from the device they hack, okay? So they have to really jump on the network to try to get to the end game, yeah? Which is a target attack, or they're just exploring. So what we've done is, very quickly, how much time do I have? Sorry. How much time do I have? Oh, okay. So basically, we look at the we look at device health status, and what we do is we look at things like the BIOS, kernel, operating system kernel, application layer, our own rules, your own rules, and we take a hash of that at a point in time, and we take that in less than a second, milliseconds, and it goes to our blockchain, that gets distributed. And we look for integrity. We don't care if your device has been compromised or not. We don't do that. It will always be compromised. What we care is that to stop 99.9% of the attacks, which is moving to the next one. We stop that in less than a second, yeah? Because we look for integrity. Integrity is mathematically perfect, true, false, yeah? That hash key that it goes and gets distributed less than a second from every device that you had to our blockchain. When somebody, doesn't matter what it is, compromise, code injection, being whatever, into one of the libraries, whatever it is, that next hash key is going to be different. Okay? There's no more consensus on the blockchain that is the same hash. And then three things will happen. Your device is kicked out from the network in less than a second, and you stop the attacker. At the moment in the US, an attacker lives 101 days on the network. In Europe, is 185. and in the Southeast Asia it's 270 without being detected. That's average. Yeah, we do it in less than a second, just by. It's not simple. You know, I'm talking simplistic way. Yeah. So FUD, we do that. We're the first company to detect cyber weapons. Okay, nobody does that. Data loss. You know, if somebody's trying to copy data to a USB drive, yeah, or upload to a website or FTP, that action is validated by our blockchain. Can Fernando copy that data or not? If not, there's no consensus on the blockchain. It stops you from doing that, yeah? And so on. And, you know, I can tell you more if you want. We do use depots, Merkle trees. Again, all your supply chain, YOLO customers, all your suppliers, if they onboard, they'll be validated by you and all the rules that you have and so on. So it stops also from supply chain to compromising you. Side chains, everybody knows what they're doing. Again, there's a lot of stuff that we do in terms of tier 1, tier 3 nodes and so on. We create the concept of mining cybersecurity. So if you want, you can actually generate, you know, validations and be part of the ecosystem and get compensated by doing that. Yeah, there's all sorts of now white paper that you can look at that. So it's you become part of the ecosystem. Everybody's validating each other. We do not have such a thing as a 51% attack. Is up to the last two on the network. They are validating each other. We tackle all the cybersecurity domains, and you know, blockchain adoption is really about all of this. Yeah, use cases, solve problems, get involved. You know, spread the word. It's about getting everybody in the ecosystem, everybody pushing this forward. But you know, start to think about this cybersecurity first before you do anything else. People talk about data first, whatever. You know, cybersecurity first is the thing that you need to start to think about. Because if you don't do it, I can guarantee you that somebody is, oh, well, everyone here on this net here, if you work for any company out there, most probably is you have someone on your network already. That's the probability. Okay? Thank you.